In today's video, we will look at a few problems associated with normal force and friction and how these two forces are related to each other. Before that, a brief introduction. Assume that you have an object and it is resting on a rough floor. The object is being pushed like that with some force F. The free body diagram for this object is as follows. In addition to that force F, other forces that are acting directly on this object are first the weight, and then you have a normal force in an upward direction like that, and because you have friction between the object and the surface, you have a friction going in an opposite direction, opposing any possible motion. The friction and normal force are related to each other. Since the object is pressing against this surface due to its weight, the surface will in return exert an equal amount of force in an upward direction. That, in this case, is the normal force. So in this example, we say the normal force equals the object's weight. Now suppose there is an additional force pressing this object against the floor like that. Let's call that force T. Now the normal force would have a bigger number. It would be the weight plus that additional press. What that means is the existence of this additional press would make this object harder to move, and this fact is related directly to friction. So friction, let's assume the object is moving. Kinetic friction in this case is related to the normal force in the following manner. It is a coefficient of kinetic friction times the normal force. So you see, when we make the transition from this case to that case, the normal force increases, so the friction increases, and therefore, whatever force you apply to this object to try to move it forward, that force F would have a hard time to move this object because of a greater friction. Now let's assume we are dealing with a static object. As long as you have a potential force that is trying to move this object forward, there will be some sort of friction acting in an opposite direction. Only in this case, the type of friction is static friction. Since the object is not moving, that static friction equals to the forward force. And there is an upper limit to this static friction. Meaning, as you keep on increasing this forward force, capital F, the static friction that is maintaining the static behavior of this object will also go up until one point when F gets sufficiently large, this would give away and motion would start to occur. At that point, the static friction is maximum, and the maximum static friction is given by coefficient of static friction times the normal force acting on this object. So generally, static friction is given by an inequality, like that. So you see, both in kinetic friction and static friction, normal force plays an important role. Let's see how all these works in problems. Problem 1. A block of mass 4 kg rides on top of a second block of mass 8 kg. So the top one is 4 kg, the bottom one is 8 kg. A string is attached to the bottom block like that, and the system is pulled horizontally across a frictionless surface, so there is no friction here. Let's call this force F. Friction between the two blocks keeps the 4 kg object from slipping off, so friction exists here. If the coefficient of static friction there is 0.3, meaning at the contact point between the little object and the big object, find the maximum force that can be exerted by the string right there, on the 8 kg object without causing the 4 kg block to slip. What is the acceleration of the system? So the first step is to sketch the free body diagram of the system. Now there are a couple of objects. The first is the 4 kg object. The second one is the 8 kg object. So there should be two free body diagrams. Let's look at the 4 kg object first. What are the forces acting directly on this object? Now the whole system is moving with some acceleration a. So the little object has an acceleration a forward. Now there is static friction here, so the static friction must act in a forward direction as well, like that. In addition to that, you have the weight of this 4 kg object, 4 times gravity, and then there is a normal force from the bigger block to the little block, which is going like that. Let's call it N1. Now let's look at the second free body diagram, the 8 kg object, which is resting on the surface. The forces are the F from that string, and then you have its weight, which is 8 times gravity. However, one must remember that on top of that big block, the small block rests. So the effective weight that is acting downward here is due to the mass 4 kg and 8 kg. So that means 12 kg times the gravitational acceleration. So the weight downward is 12g. And then you have the normal force acting like that. Let's call it N2, together with the acceleration of the system. Now we will remind you that as long as the top block isn't slipping, the acceleration of both blocks are the same and therefore can be represented as the acceleration of the system. So let's write down Newton's second law for the second diagram. Forward force equals mass is 12 kg, that is 4 plus 8 kg, times the acceleration of the system. From the first free body diagram, this static friction must be the same as the mass of that little block, which is 4 kg, times the acceleration of the system. Since we are looking at maximum force that can be exerted, that means the static friction has got to be maximum as well. So the maximum value of the static friction is given by the coefficient of static friction times the normal force N1, and that equals to 4 times A. But balancing the vertical force from the first body diagram, we know N1 equals to 4g. So N1 equals to 4g. This would enable us to determine the maximum force exerted by the string. 12a can be rewritten as 3 times 4a, where 4a is mu sub s, which is 0.3 times n1, and n1 is 4 times gravity. And you can determine the maximum force, and it turns out to be 35.32 newtons. The acceleration can be determined from this equation. Acceleration is mu sub s, which is 0.3 times n1, which is 4 times gravity, divide by 4, which will give you a value of 2.94 meter per second squared. And that solves the problem. Problem 2. A man exerts a horizontal force of 120 newtons on a refrigerator of mass 45 kg. If the refrigerator does not move, find the minimum coefficient of static friction between the refrigerator and the floor. So let's do the free body diagram. You have the fridge resting on a floor like that. The free body diagram tells you all the forces directly acting on this object. First, the weight, 45 times gravity. You have normal force acting like that, N, and then the force exerted by the man, 120 newtons, and of course, the static friction, like that. The acceleration is 0. To determine the minimum coefficient of static friction, we assume that this 100 newton is the threshold force that could move this fridge forward. So that means 120 equals mu sub s times the normal force. So mu sub s equals 120 over the normal force, which is equivalent to the weight of the fridge, 45 times gravity. And therefore mu sub s is 0.272. Problem 3. Calculate the normal force on 20 kg block in following setup. In the first case, the block is resting on a level surface. So you have a surface and the block is just resting like that. So the weight is 20 times gravity. The normal force is just the same as its weight, which is 20 times gravity. Taking G to be 9.81, you get 196.2 newtons. Part B, the block is resting on a surface tilted up at an angle of 25 degrees with respect to the horizontal. So some kind of an inclined plane here, and the block is resting like that. So this angle here is 25 degrees. Now let's look at the free body diagram. First, of course, you have the weight, which is 20 times gravity. That is the normal force, N. Now this weight has two components, like that. One component is acting in this way. We can call it the component of weight that is perpendicular to the plane. And another component of that weight acts like that, which is the component of the weight parallel to the plane. Now we need to figure out this, because W perpendicular is indeed the normal force, because this balances that. Let's look at the triangle. This is 90 degrees. This is 25, so that means this has got to be 25 degrees, which means in that right angle triangle, W perpendicular over the hypotenuse, which is the weight, equals 2 cosine of 25 degrees. So W perpendicular, which is the normal force that we are trying to calculate, equals the weight, which is 20 times gravity times cosine 25 degrees, which will give you 177.8 newtons. Part C, the block resting on the floor of an elevator that is accelerating upwards at 4 meters per second squared. So let's assume that this is the elevator. The object is resting like that. Now, we know the free body diagram states the acceleration is upward, 4 meters per second squared. The object has weights of 20 g, and there is a normal force N. That means the net force upward is the normal force minus the weight. The net force is upward because the acceleration of the system is upward. And that equals mass times acceleration according to Newton's second law. The mass is 20 kg and acceleration is 4. So the normal force is therefore 80 plus 20 times gravity, and that is 276.2 newtons. And part D, the block is on a level surface and a force of 120 newtons is exerted on it at an angle of 30 degrees above the horizontal. So that's the surface, and you have an object resting like that. The forces are, 1, the weight, which is 20 times gravity. Then you have this normal force, and a third force, which is 120 newtons at an angle of 30 degrees above the horizontal. So the effect of this 120 Newton force is to reduce the normal force, because normal force equals the weight, which is heading downward, minus the upward force, which in this case is 120 newtons. The component of it in an upward direction is 120 times sine 30 degrees, which will give you an answer of 136.2 newtons. And that solves the problem. Thank you for watching.